My name is Carl Hinder, and you're listening to the Salon Help Good to Go podcast, the podcast for salon and spa owners who are looking to grow. The only thing stopping you is you. Episode 49. Salon Appraisals. Now, guys, let's dive straight in fact, to salon appraisals, staff appraisals, perhaps I should call them. These are fundamental meetings, fundamental assessments, fundamental kind of building blocks of your business, yet so many of you don't take part in them, don't actually make them part of your setup. Let's talk about it. Let's find out why. Why don't you, not all of you of course, why don't you though, the majority of salons, ever do staff appraisals? Is 1 hour, maybe 1 hour a year, 2 hours a year, too much to invest in your team, in your staff members? Or maybe £149 for a course? Is that too much to invest in your staff or your members? No, of course it isn't. You're already agreeing with me. Say, no, Carl, of course. A couple of hours a year plus a few bob is absolutely nothing from what I'll get out of investing in my team. Let me ask you in a different way then. Would you like your current team members to stay with you? Would you like them to stay with you for longer? Look, I don't mean later in the evenings. I mean, instead of staying for 6 months or 1 or 2 years, would you like them to stay 3, 4, or 5 years? Look, we can't guarantee that, but I think most employers would. We know, don't we, that the recruitment horizon is quite challenging. It's quite challenging in the UK, it's quite challenging in the USA, it's quite challenging in Australia, and I suspect it's challenging in most countries. However, why make things more difficult for yourself when an appraisal would help this process? So, would you like that to happen? And I got a feeling there's going to be a lot of voices at the moment saying, yes, I want my team to stay. Would you like your team to make you more money? Would you like every individual there to generate more cash and more profit? Some of it you're going to be able to take for yourself. Some of it you can invest back directly in the business. Some of it you could invest back into them. I don't know what you're going to say, but if I was on the other side of this coin and I was listening to a coach, I'd be like, yes, I want them to stay. Yes, I want them to make more money. Yes, I want them to be more efficient. Let me ask you another one. Would you guys like to have less business stress? Again, I don't know what you're going to say, but I think you would be a little bit foolish if you didn't say, yes, of course, Carl, I would like my business stress to go down. Of course you would. Then why wouldn't you do at least one appraisal a year and at the same time, use that appraisal process to develop a plan for the future? Have a think about that for a moment. So I have been asking salon owners, all types of salon owners, whether they're clinicians, aestheticians, cosmetologists, whatever, okay, hair and beauty, the whole lot of you guys, I've been talking to you. I've been talking to you for years, in fact. But I have been kind of doubling up and asking you, why don't you do appraisals? Or why don't you do them formally? Or why don't you do them on a regular basis? Well, regular, is once a year regular? But anyway, look, that'd be a great start. Look, the answers you give me, I totally believe, are really in 2 areas. First of all, or 3 areas perhaps. First of all, you just don't know how to do them. You don't know how to do a proper formal staff or team appraisal. Well, look, there's nothing wrong with that. Why would you know how to do them? How would you know how to do them? They didn't do it in college. They don't do it in your MBQs. What are you supposed to do? Just imagine it? It's not as if you should know how to do them. Now, the only reason you might know what an appraisal is if you had one in a salon you used to work in, or maybe you did some other work, and you was in, retailing or work for another big company and they did these annual appraisals. But if you didn't have that kind of experience, of course you wouldn't know what one was, not really, not truly, and you certainly wouldn't know how to conduct one. But that previous experience also is your second reason for not doing them, if you know what I mean. Lots of you have had bad experiences with appraisals, and you kind of think, well, look, based on what I know, or based on what I understand, or based on my history, I don't actually think they do anything. I don't think there's any point in doing them. Now, there's a point here that I agree. I agree with you that if you do an appraisal badly, or even if you do an appraisal well and then just ignore it, it's a waste of time. Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that, but that wouldn't be any different to doing colour training or doing health and safety training. If you do the training and then totally ignore it, well, that doesn't work either. So, yes, I agree with you, but it's not your fault that you don't know how to do them, and it's not your fault if you've had bad experiences in the past, which now makes you think, hey, Carl, there's no point because they don't do anything. I know, as an ex-retailer myself, working for some of the biggest companies in the UK, plus as an ex-salon owner, chain salon owner, I know these things are totally invaluable. But you know what the biggest reason is when I ask salon owners why they don't do them? It's because of the fear of some sort of confrontation. Yeah, some sort of heated argument, perhaps some sort of resilience or rejection, some sort of confrontation around the appraisal. The reason that happens, the reason that you have a confrontation at an appraisal is because you've done them wrong. That's the only reason. Again, not your fault. Of course, you're going to do them like you think you should do them, and you do have confrontation in appraisals when they're done badly. Yeah, when they're done wrong or when they're done badly. The thing is about appraisals, you're going to find this peculiar. The thing is about appraisals, both you and your staff should be looking forward to them. Not scared of them and worried about them, which is what's normal, because people think they're being judged, and they are. And on that point, there's nothing wrong with judging people. We kind of use that word like it's a terrible thing. That's your job as a salon owner, is to judge your staff. And you judge them to be doing badly, then you got to improve their performance. And you judge them to be doing great, then you got to reward them. Anyway, that aside, you and your team should be looking forward. And this is the culture you got to create. How do you create a culture where people look forward to having their review? Maybe annually, maybe biannually, whatever's going to work for you. This is like, how can I say, when you meet at an appraisal, I just have a bit of a laugh with you, you're a bit of a joke. It should be like renewing your wedding vows. It's kind of like, confirmation, if you like, that you are both still committed to each other. That's how an appraisal should be. This is not an opportunity for you to have an argument or for you to kind of get one over or whatever it is you've got in the back. It's more like I said, I want to confirm my commitment to you. And during this appraisal, we are going to look at your performance. That's what we're going to be doing with your team. We are going to look at their performance, and then we're going to look at a way or a number of ways of improving it, where both parties are clear and understand what their part is. When you leave that appraisal, you should be hyped up. The salon owner I'm talking to now, salon spa, you get the idea, should be pumped up, should be very kind of positive, and so should your member of staff. They should end up with a piece of paper in their hand that tells them what their roadmap is for the next 12 months. It's going to be split down a little bit more than that, but for the next 12 months, this is what I'm going to be working on, and here are my indicated rewards for achieving all of these things. Now you got that firm in your mind. You're probably thinking, wow, this is nothing like I've ever been told before. This is not how I actually think about appraisals. But Carl, I'm listening. So I'm going to just give you two little tips if you like, if you want to get appraisals right. But first of all, if you're going to take appraisal seriously, if you want all the benefits that I started to talk to you about at the beginning of the podcast, about people staying longer, about them performing better, and about your business stress going down, go and get appraisal training. Get my appraisal course. You can get the appraisal course just by going in the show notes and clicking on a link. Or if you can't find the show notes, I don't know why you wouldn't be able to find them. If you can't find them, then just message me at info@salon-help.co.uk. Because with that course, you get guides. You get guides and all the paperwork that you need. In fact, your staff get a guide as well. So if you're struggling to explain to them what needs to be done, I've done it for you. So first thing is, just like anything in your business life, get the training. Here's my top tip, and it's in the training as well, like I was just saying. My top tip for a smooth and valuable appraisal system is that never ever discuss anything at the appraisal that you have never discussed before. There should be no surprises. Yeah, definitely no surprises for the staff or the team members. You shouldn't spring anything on them. This is not a time to, what do they say? Wash your dirty laundry. This is a time for you to find agreement on a way forward. This is also not a tick box exercise. This isn't about getting a sheet of paper, even if you're well trained on it by doing the course. This isn't about getting a sheet of paper and saying, look, I'll get this done. I'll tick a few boxes. I'll be seen to be a good employer. And if I bump into Carl, he'll be very, very pleased with me because I've done the appraisal. It's not about that. This is about having a foundation in place, a system in place where you gather information. And I've already said this, so I'm going to repeat it just one more time. Where you gather information and you both agree on a plan. You agree on a way forward. And you're agreeing on the correct things and on those things being done in the correct time window. That's going to be important. So I'm going to leave it at that. You understanding that an appraisal is a cornerstone to developing your team and to communication within your business. That's really, really important. If I haven't convinced you of that just yet and you're having staffing problems, maybe listen to the podcast again, or drop me a line, because you need to be convinced that appraisals are a fundamental part of all professional businesses, especially if you've got employees that you want to grow, develop and retain. And that's all for this week. Thank you for joining me on the Salon Help Good to Go podcast. Now you can get your appraisal link, the appraisal link in the show notes. If you can go and get that now, you can get busy with your team over the next few days. Take care, guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful new year, and I will catch you on the next episode.